It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Hi, I'm back after so long. Well, it's only been 2 months, but been a long time. Remember when I promised to do 2 videos a month? Well, I've broken that promise, and I am sorry, but a lot has happened in these past 2 months for me, being a 17-year-old child in Florida, in an all-white school with mental health problems. So, that's basically should cover it for you. But yeah, so just a lot of stressful stuff, had to step away from this, and I was gonna do a February wrap-up, but I was too busy. School has been a lot, and that has been getting in the way. And at one point, like recently, I've had to take a break from reading, but it hasn't been too effective. My motivation is back, and my motivation to make a video is back. So here we are. Hope you enjoy this video. Hopefully it'll make up for everything. Anyway, so for February, I was able to read 3 books, and for March, I only got to read 2, mainly just because that's when I went into a slump for a little bit, had to take a break, and I also had my first DNF. And we'll be getting into that soon, and some people will probably be surprised if they know this author. But getting off track, let's start out with February. Also, some of the books on here I don't have. I had gotten from the library, and I'm probably going to be too lazy to edit the book covers in, so you're just going to have to look it up on your own once you're done. Alright, so the first one from February is a book called The Bone Houses. I'm looking at my reading log right now, by Emily Lloyd Jones. So this is, read this for book club, and that's gonna be like a lot of these I've had to read for book club. So this is one of them. Now this one was a horror fantasy young adult novel, and it was about these bone houses, which are basically skeleton zombies. And we are following these 2 main characters, a boy and a girl, and they're basically going over to try and stop the cause of all these bone houses. And that's basically the best I could do with the synopsis. I'm not good at telling synopses, as you can tell, because I don't want to spoil anything. And I like this book. Also, it's been a while. I have bad memory, so I'm looking down at my reading log for help. And so I said that I had really liked this book, and it gave me a lot of Neil Gaiman vibes. And for people who don't know who Neil Gaiman is, he's the author of famous books like Coraline, American Gods, and he also helped co-write Good Omens, which was like one of my favorite books for a while. And so like getting like Neil Gaiman vibes from this book, it just like it made me so happy. It's just, I don't know, the writing style just seemed a bit similar to his, even though Neil Gaiman can be a bit of a writing chameleon, but her style just reminded me of like when he was writing the girl at the end of Ocean Lane, or whatever it's called. It's a long title. But I really liked it. I love the characters and their chemistry, and I don't know if I should say it or not, but they I'm not going to. Anyway, it's just like minor spoiler that the 2 characters do like start to bond a little bit more into a romance, but the great thing about it is that it's not rushed. For me, I am asexual, and I do not like romances that are like rushed and are just kind of stupid. I hate the enemies to lovers trope. I just don't like it. I don't care for it. I've seen it too many times to really care, and whenever it happens in a book, I'm just like, alright. But with this one, it was like it's taken very slow. It's just, and I really like that. That's what I remember. I really liked it about that book. So that was the first one for February. Second one was the first Six of Crows book, and for those who don't know, this is about like a group of teenagers, young adults, and they are assigned on a heist to go into the ice court, where they are supposed to get out this man. I don't know, I forgot his name, but he has like this drug that can enhance Agrisha's powers and make them even more powerful than they already are. But the problem is it it's basically they get addicted to it and it can kill them. And so that's why they're being sent in, just to make sure this chaos doesn't spread throughout the entire world. And I remember I really liked this book, but I really like the sequel better, and I'll be talking about that soon. And I just loved the characters. There's a lot of backstory behind them. The characters are what make the story work. And since this is part of Leigh Bardugo's Grishaverse, I have not read the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I don't plan on it. I don't really plan on reading any of her other books either, but because the duology was more than enough for me. I absolutely love the characters. Again, keep on saying that, but it's true. They're awesome, and they're very well developed. There's a lot of backstory. I will say that this story, it is a little bit slow at times, but really, it's amazing. That's all I can really say. Really good book, and I think I gave this like 4 or 5 stars. So yeah, I really liked it. And for Bone Houses, I had also given the Bone Houses 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now the next one, another library book called Killing November by Adriana Mather. So this one was kind of like dark academia. That's what it reminds me of. So that's one hint. And like, this girl just wakes up in this academy place. She has no idea where she is, and she's just told, like, you're gonna stay here. Your father sent you here. And it's like, it's a school where you have to learn how to defend yourself. You have to learn all these attack skills. You can't trust anyone. You can't say anything about yourself. So it was like, you'd think a concept like that would be interesting for me. And I remember looking at the book cover, and I was thinking, like, I'm probably not gonna like it. And I was half right. The story for me was okay. It was okay. Like, for some reason, I wasn't all that into it. It was giving me the Mysterious Benedict Society vibes, which is a really good book. I prefer that one over this one. It's, I don't know, just Mysterious Benedict Society, I just liked it much more. It just felt much more fun than this one. This one just felt grim and dreary all the time. And I don't know, I just didn't care for the characters. I just had to read it for book club. That's the only reason I picked it up. And, like, do I have anything else about it? Yeah, I said it was very forgettable. Like, I know I'm probably never gonna read it again. And I will say that sometimes the writing is very repetitive. And Adriana Mather, I think this is like her first few books, so it's not gonna be perfect. There's gonna be a few mistakes now and then. Like, I'd say it's pretty good writing to start out with, but I can still see the mistakes. Like, my god. Every time, I swear, this was repeated over and over again with some of these actions. So many things were repeated, like, where this just annoyed me so much. It's hard for me to speak about it. I feel like Mrs. White from Clue, just like flames on the side of my face. And anyway, so it's just, the one thing that made me mad was all the times where the main character would say, I opened my mouth to say something, hesitate, and then close it again. And I'm just like, are you a doll or something? Because she kept on doing this so many times throughout the book. And I'm just like, okay, you just look like a stupid doll at this point every time you do it. So, yeah, I don't know why. That just annoys me so much whenever an action like that is repeated so many times in a book. So, pet peeve. It's just a normal pet peeve for me. Alright, so those are all the books for February. Oh wait, also I gave Killing November 3 stars. So yeah, it's not bad. Other people may be into it, but I wasn't. Whatever. Anyway, so now on to March, where I only was able to read 2 books, sadly. But, you know, a reading slump came on, and it couldn't be avoided. You gotta ride through that wave, and then the motivation came back. So, the first book for March, and this one I have a lot of personal connections to, is a book called Heroine by Mindy McGinnis. This is another book, yet again, for book club. We had Battle of the Books, so I'm kind of done for a little while. until I have to start reading some of them again. But so heroin, as you can tell from the title, it is about a drug addiction. It's about this young girl. She gets in a car accident and she has like her leg like pops out of its socket, and she's a softball player, and it's like she was in a very serious accident, and so was her friend, and she's given a prescription of Oxycontin, which is a type of opioid drug, also known as like a painkiller drug. It's to help her numb the pain that's in her leg because she has screws in her leg. But as the story goes on, she gets more and more addicted to it because it takes all the pain away. It makes her feel good, and she has to find more ways to get it, and it's just like it's a long downward spiral. And one of the first things I see is a little note from the author saying this is based off of true things that could happen to someone who's addicted to opioids. And Oxycontin is basically, I guess, like some form of heroin. I am not a scientist. I'm just basing off of what the story said, because she later gets addicted to like true heroin when she gets very, very desperate. And so I have a lot of personal connections to this book. There's many. And so I'll be starting out with number one, just like my mental health. And I am now on medication, but before I was getting very, very nervous, and like was like a nice story, just like prepare me so that I don't accidentally get addicted to anything. But I'm taking like a very different medication from what she was taking, like 2 different things. So it doesn't really matter. But another thing was, it's just like, it's really interesting to like get into the mind of someone who's going through addiction. And I've had a family member who's gone through addiction. They're fine now. They're doing great. But now I could get an idea of what was going through their mind, probably when they had, like, what was going through their mind when they were addicted, and why it was hard for them to stop. So it was very, very interesting. And so it's a lot of personal connections from this book, and I definitely say, I think I gave it like 4 or 5 stars for what I did. And it's very open-ended, like very hopeful, just like you think, just like, will she recover, or will she go down that spiral again? Will she relapse into her addiction? You never know. It's up to her. But it ends off pretty hopeful. And so I thought that was a really good book, and very informative too, even though it's fiction. But I definitely recommend it. Alright, so second book I finished for March was Crooked Kingdom, second book in the Six of Crows duology, and also really good. Like, so good. And I'm gonna just do this real quick. There you go. So, this book, I'm just gonna read off of this. Finally finished this and I absolutely loved it. Definitely better than the first book. It was action-packed, epic, just pure amazing. I honestly can't wait for the series. I was so satisfied with the characters' relationship, truly bringing out the flaws instead of disregarding them, like some stories are apt to do. The attention to the flaws and issues of characters were my favorite parts because it made the chemistry so much better. Okay, we're good. Now I remember everything. Yeah, so one thing I really liked, yet again, character development. Best thing ever. And it's because, and we're really like focusing on the flaws of the characters in this. And like sometimes, I remember reading one book where this one person had flaws and it was mostly disregarded throughout the entire story. And I was like, well, what's the point if we're not even gonna go over it that much? They keep on going over it over and over again. And I'm just like, it makes me so happy. Just like how we have to accept our flaws, no matter how bad we are, because they may never want to go away. Probably the worst way to put it, but I'm not good with words. I'm not good with vocabulary. And so yeah, I gave this one also 5 out of 5 stars. So the duology as a whole, amazing. And I cannot wait for the Grishaverse Netflix adaptation, and I can't wait to see this group of misfits come and play with their heists and their whatever. Anyway, told you, bad with words. So, those were the 2 of March, and now on to the DNF. My very first DNF. I shouldn't be happy, but for some reason I am. I'm excited. So, my first DNF of the year was a book called To Say Nothing of the Dog by Connie Willis, and so story time, I've been hyped up about Connie Willis, heard that she's really good, and I don't think this was the best book to start out with. So, this is a book about a time traveler named Ned Henry, who was originally assigned to look for a bishop's bird stump. Yes, and I'm reading this off the back of the book. But later something comes through the time net thing. I don't understand time travel. Something comes through the time net, and usually when that happens, it can alter history dramatically and could probably end the universe. And so they have to send it back, and that's what Ned Henry is supposed to do. But he was being really bad timeline when he was given the assignment, so he's just kind of like, what am I doing? And so, you probably think me, being a Doctor Who fan, or, well, a former Doctor Who fan, I kind of go in and out of the fandom, I never really stay, you think I probably like this book since it has time travel, and fun characters that time travel, but sadly, when I was almost 200 pages in, I stopped reading. And you're probably thinking, but why? Since you love time travel from Doctor Who. And I have to say, it's because this was so boring. And, like, at first, it was interesting. We were in World War II, looking through the debris of a church for something. It was really cool. And then we were at, basically the time travel headquarters. I was learning about time lag and many other things, but then we get stuck in the Victorian era and everything slows down, and it's just like constant dialogue, constant historical references. Some I understand, some I don't, because I don't know everything about history, and it's supposed to be a satire book about time travel and history, everything, like conveniences, whatever, and I was not really happy. I wasn't real, because the story wasn't going anywhere. It slowed down dramatically to like the simplest of things. I'm just like, what? I really not really happy where this is going. And so I just decided to DNF, and it was kind of what sent me a little bit into a slump, but also because I was very, very exhausted from school and anxiety. And so, yeah, it's not the best way to get introduced to Connie Willis, but the thing is I have 2 more books of hers, and they sound way more interesting. They're not satires. They are science fiction, and I think a bit of historical fiction. They should be very interesting. This one didn't do it for me. It's just because it just felt like there was no plot. And maybe people can scream at me, give it another chance, but I probably never will. So, those are like all the books that I completely read and the one I didn't finish. And right now I shall show you the 2 books I am currently reading. One is taking me a while. Actually, both of them are taking me forever. So, the first one I have is The Overstory by Richard Powers. I am currently reading this. I am almost done. I will definitely be talking about it in my April reading wrap-up if I do it, and I probably will, unless I have to start like really badly studying for final exams, which are also coming up. But yeah, and so as I was reading this was when the slump hit, and I was hoping to finish this in March, but just because I knew I needed a break from reading. If I tried to push myself anymore, I would hate the book and would want to put down books forever. So I had to take a break and focus on a few other things, and then I picked it back up again, and I am loving it. I will be talking about it more in April. Hopefully you'll see me again. And yeah, yeah, all you need to know is this is about trees, and we need to save them. Sound familiar? Look at this cover. Like, look at how beautiful that is. That is amazing. And now, last book I'm going to talk about, and like this is probably going to take me forever, when it shouldn't. The Adventures of Alice in Wonderland, and If I Am Willing, Through the Looking Glass. And so, very short. The first one, Adventures in Wonderland, is only 118 pages long, and yet it's taking me forever. And I can't help that, I haven't been in the mood to focus on it. But the writing is so simple, and yet I'm taking forever. I can't help it, I'm just a lazy person. And I've been focusing on the overstory. So, yeah. I finally read another chapter today, so we're gonna give it a chance. Hopefully. Well, anyway. That was, all of my books, and I am probably not gonna edit this because I want to get it out soon. And I hope you enjoyed this. Where's the thingy? There it is. I hope you enjoyed this, and I am sorry I've been away, but I am a 17-year-old child, and I have so many other things to worry about, as I've been saying in these videos over and over and over again. So, hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you next month. Also, in the comments, this is just like a personal request. Like, give me ideas for a book tag. I'd love to do one. I'd love to do another one. And I will probably do it. Just name one, I'll look it up, and you'll probably see another video from me sooner rather than what I have planned. Alright, bye!